I've watched almost every single Ryan Trahan storytelling breakdown on YouTube, and they all suck. I mean, it's absolutely insane to me that there's so many videos talking about his secret strategies, but none of them talk about writing. I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious, but one of the most important parts of storytelling is, you guessed it, writing. Think about it. No movie works without a script. Your favorite Disney movie started as a book. In fact, 80% of the creators that you watch on YouTube, all their videos start with a script. So today, I'm not going to give you vague storytelling tips like use jump cuts or be more authentic. Instead, I want to give you actionable writing tips that makes Ryan's stories so damn good. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Eli, and in the past 3 years, my scripts have produced millions of views for creators on YouTube. And after breaking down a ton of Ryan's scripts, I found that there's 3 specific story techniques he uses to keep you hooked for the entire video. They're super easy to learn, and you don't need to be an expert writer to use them to instantly improve your storytelling. Alright, so the first technique is something that Ryan always uses at the start of his stories. In just a few lines, he uses it to build tension, create curiosity, and make you hungry to keep watching. And I call it emotional teasing. So in simple terms, this is when he promises a big piece of value, but then doesn't reveal it until later in the video. This is by far one of the oldest storytelling tricks in the book, and it's what keeps you flipping pages in a novel, binge watching a Netflix TV show, or glued to Ryan's YouTube videos. So let's take a look at how he uses it in his most viral video ever.
There is a seat on an airplane called an A380 that literally comes with a living room, a private bathroom, a private bedroom, and a personal flight attendant.
So in just 9 seconds, Ryan paints a vivid picture of the luxurious A380 seat. He shows you the private bathroom and the fact that he has a personal flight attendant. This gets you frothing at the mouth and wanting more. But then instead of jumping to that part of the video, he makes you wait 17 minutes and 47 seconds before the big reveal, and it works like crazy. So here's exactly how you can use emotional teasing to instantly improve your stories in 2 simple steps. So step 1 is you want to find the most exciting part of your story. So just ask yourself, what's the crazy, most emotional event that happens? And then you want to stack that within your first 10 to 20 seconds. So step 2 is then to simply delay this big piece of value, right? You found the most exciting part. Don't just give it away straight away. What you want to do is you want to build up to it using a story. So for example, in Ryan's video, he takes you through 3 other seats before he gets to the luxurious A380 seat. So this is exactly what you want to do. You want to build up to that big emotional moment and make that the final reveal. Now, teasing is going to get people in the door, but it's not enough to keep them watching. Because here's the thing, people's attention is extremely fragile. You can have a great story, but if it starts to become predictable, people are going to zone out. And this is where Ryan's next technique comes in. It's what he uses to jolt your brain right when your mind starts to wander, and it's called pattern interrupts. These are like mini speed bumps in your story that wake your audience up right when they're getting bored. They catch you off guard and they keep the story exciting. So here's an absolutely hilarious example from Ryan that made me laugh and is going to make everything super clear.
As the flight is taking off, I've developed a plan to not fall asleep, in which I will be very strict about not even closing my eyes to blink. I fell asleep for 4 hours, oh my goodness.
So he built up to make you believe that he was going to stay awake, but then he quickly interrupted the pattern by saying, I fell asleep for 4 hours. And it's these exact little twists and turns that keep you engaged and invested in his story. Here's another really great example.
I got a notification that said, we left another surprise for you, the best on earth. Guys, they have Joyride, isn't that crazy? Okay, I asked them to put that there.
So these moments feel casual, but don't be fooled. Ryan is an absolute genius at knowing how to snap your attention back as you start to drift off. And it's by far one of his most important storytelling techniques. But how do you actually use these pattern interrupts in your own stories? Well, actually, it's not as complicated as you think. So step 1 is to just get your story down on paper. Don't worry about twists or anything like that. Just get the story down first. So step 2 is to find predictable moments. So go through your script and look for parts that are safe or expected. And here is exactly where you want to add a twist and flip the script. So let me give you an example of a little story that I wrote about my first kiss, and I'll show you how to add in a twist that's unpredictable. After months of waiting, the moment was finally here. I had butterflies in my stomach and I couldn't believe my first kiss was just about to happen. But then I farted and she broke up with me. So as you can see, this little unpredictable moment at the end is what makes the story exciting, it's funny, and it's what's going to keep people engaged in your stories. Alright, so teasing will get people into your stories, Pattern interrupts are going to stop them from getting bored, but there's one last little technique that ties your stories together. And I'll be straight with you right now, this is the part that most creators never figure out. So everyone who breaks down Ryan's stories always talks about his edits, they talk about his pacing, his humor, but what I believe makes his story so good is actually the structure underneath all this. And once you understand how Ryan's structure his stories, you'll realize you don't have to be quirky, you don't have to be funny or authentic or copy Ryan to still write great stories like him. Because good writing structure will work with any style. So what is this mysterious structure that Ryan's using? Well, it's actually not a big secret. It's a classic 4-part storytelling framework that looks something like this. So this simple 4-part framework is so good that once you learn it, you'll be able to write stories like you're the reincarnated Walt Disney. In fact, when I personally used this on one of my client scripts, it generated over 1.5 million views and became their best performing video ever. So trust me, this works.
Isaac asked me to deliver David a letter and his favorite cereal from the US, all the way to his brother in Singapore.
So this first pass, the setup, is what gives your story direction. There's a clear goal, which is deliver the cereal, and it's weird and quirky enough to get you curious about what's going to happen. Without this setup, it'd just be a mashup of airplane clips. Next, he sprinkles in conflict.
We have arrived to Abu Dhabi. I was mildly concerned about my cereal coming into a new country, but I got through with ease.
Conflict is the thing that adds excitement to the story. It's the tension that keeps people watching even if they don't know why. In Ryan's video, the conflict is there, but it's super subtle. Every few minutes, he teases a burning question, which is, will my fragile little cereal box survive this journey? And this isn't just some accident that he discovered during the video. I mean, this is my interpretation. Maybe he did, but I think it's actually 100% planned. He just understands the power of conflict. Next, we have escalation. Once the story is set up and the conflict is established, next we need to build tension. That's exactly what escalation does. So each moment needs to get bigger, needs to be funnier or scarier so that the tension keeps climbing. So in Ryan's video, he does this by constantly upgrading his seeds. So each upgrade doesn't just raise the stakes, it gives you something to look forward to. So you're always waiting for that next reward.
If there's one thing I know, going on this adventure of riding in every single class on the most expensive airline in the world would be insane.
So the last step of this framework is the payoff. So after 20 minutes of travel, tension, and luxury seat tours, Ryan finally makes it back to the US. And the story ends by Ryan reuniting two brothers, so it's no longer about cereal anymore.
Isaac, bro, I miss you. I miss all the good times we've had and your humor. You are always the one to lighten the mood and keep everyone laughing.
So this emotional ending is super important to the entire structure. It leaves the audience feeling warm and fuzzy, and it closes the story. But if that structure sounds all too overwhelming, you have no idea how to actually apply that to your stories, don't worry. Here's the Temu version that's still going to help you write killer stories. All right, so before you write your story, you simply just want to ask these 3 questions. Number 1 is, what's the mission? You always want to give your story a goal that the audience can root for. Number 2 is, what are the conflicts? So simply just add in problems that come up during your story along your journey to complete the mission. And finally, the last question is, what's the big payoff? You always want to end your story on an emotional high. So maybe that's the results you achieved after overcoming the big challenges and the conflict, or maybe you failed but you've learnt a valuable lesson. And if you make sure that your stories answer all 3 of these questions, then they're going to be 10 times more engaging. If you like this breakdown and you want to learn more about storytelling, then make sure to check out my free AI script writing course. In here, I teach people how to take any idea they have and turn it into a fully written script using AI. I also talk about how to write better stories, writing techniques, psychology, all that kind of stuff. So if you are interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description. Failing that, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.